Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the United Stand, the massive game. Manchester United versus Bayern Munich, a must-win. This is almost like a final. It's not a cup final, but it seems like a final for Ten Hag. It seems like a final for Manchester United. After an abysmal performance against Bournemouth, Manchester United must respond. And also Bayern Munich, after an abysmal performance against Frankfurt, where they lost 5-1. I've got alongside me Jordan to bring you the build-up show countdown to kick off. There's obviously lots and lots to get into, right, Jordan? Let's just start off with, I know you did a live with Sam around the stadium. How are you feeling? How did it feel around the stadium? Did you manage to get to speak to some of the fans? You saw the players come in. What's the original feeling like going into this game?
See, do you know what? Understandably, there was a lot of doom and gloom. There was not a lot of positivity. A lot of people have been spun by your spell and not a lot of confidence out there. Yeah, I said it.
Which camera? We were both on the camera? The live show was interesting, I'll tell you. The live show was very interesting. A lot of people came up to me and wanted to know why I said what I said. And after spending 5 minutes with a couple of people, they started saying, okay.
You are not capable of having a conversation as short as 5 minutes. Yeah?
I'll last long.
Okay, there we go.
Last long.
So anyway, back to the stadium. There wasn't a lot of positivity. The first person we spoke to was a guy selling scarves, and he absolutely tore shreds off us. And when I said to him I was feeling optimistic 2-1 because we got a lot to play for, he told me I was deluded and probably still hungover from last night's Christmas party.
Okay.
So yeah, not a lot of confidence out there for us at the moment, Faz.
I tell you what, look, Manchester United have this tendency where we don't perform against some of the smaller teams during the season, odd games, but it's almost because we maybe think we're too good. And we have that little mentality, you know, little gremlin in our mind thinking we're too good for them. And then those small teams come to Old Trafford or at their ground, they batter us. You know, we've had the Norwich, the West Brom and the Mourinho, obviously Bournemouth and the Ten Hag. Bayern have this thing in them as well. Yes, they're obviously a fantastic squad. The expectation is they win the league. But look, they just lost against Frankfurt 5-1. But we turn up in big games. We've done that last season. What do you think Ten Hag is probably going to... What game, what kind of speech is he going to use to motivate these players?
Yeah, this is the thing. We are fighting, and this was one of the things I said to Sam earlier. You know, if you can't get up for a game like this, at home, Champions League, yes, they're Bayern Munich, but they have qualified. We have to remember that. So when you're going into a challenge, a 50-50 challenge, we should want it a little bit more because we need to win and we're at home. So, you know, you've got to be able to get yourself up for games like this. These are the type of nights as players and as fans that you live for. Bayern Munich, giants of European football. You know, we like to think of ourselves still as a giant of European football, although we haven't been in recent years. You know, we're still a massive club. These players, and you look at some of them who have come through the academy, your McTominays, your Rashfords and players like that, who should know what it means to play for Man United, what we're about as a team. These are the type of games that you want them to turn up and show up under those bright lights. Your big players, your man Bruno, that I know you're a massive fan of.
Hello! Let's not spread malicious rumours.
You told me last night that Bruno was secretly your guy.
When?
You had about six drinks.
Which alcohol?
You had about 6 drinks when he said that.
Jordan, this is false information. This is totally false. He's making it up. He knows he's making it up. That's why he's joking.
I'm winding you up. But these are the type of games. You look at Bruno, who we say, you know, is our best player. He's our captain. These are the type of games that these players have got to show up. It's now. It's here and now. You know, these are the type of games that will define the season. You know, it is very divided over Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out. He goes and delivers tonight, and we take a little bit of momentum going into the Liverpool game. We get spanked again tonight. There's a likelihood we'll lose against Liverpool. He's suddenly on a 3-game skid, and he could potentially go from manager of the month 1 month to losing his job the next month.
Let me tell you some of the players that are going to be starting for Manchester United and see how you feel. So first off, Anthony starts for Manchester United along with Reguilon starts as well. Luke Shaw starts as well. Sofian Amrabat starts as well. There we go, actually. I've got the full starting lineup graphics. So we've got Onana in net, Maguire, Shaw, Reguilon, Dalot. That's the back line. Absolutely shocking. Amrabat, McTominay, Bruno in midfield. Garnacho, Højlund, and Anthony. So no Marcus Rashford. No Marcus Rashford. No Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
So that's... pretty much the same other than Højlund then. Same team.
Yep. That is...
Do you know what, Faz? Just straight away, my instant reaction to that is, what did he see in that performance on the weekend that only requires one change?
I need to breathe. I actually need to have a bit of water. I'm feeling a bit dizzy.
That is madness. And this is where I say he makes it difficult to back him. So I understand why you've got to where you've got to in your support of the manager. And, you know, for me, someone who isn't at that point that wants to give him to the end of the season and give him an opportunity to turn things around. But it's these decisions. How did he not look at Luke Shaw and think, do you know what, man, I can't be playing him there. I've got other fit centre-backs who are actually centre-backs, and I can get more out of Luke Shaw, who is a good player. You know, I know Double A has got his opinion on him, and I'm sure we'll hear about that soon. But he's better off at left-back than he is centre-back, and I think everybody can agree at that, especially when you've got fit centre-backs that are on the bench.
Let's bring Double A in. Double A, thank you for joining us on the show. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're not hungover after last night. It was a fantastic night. You know, me, Double A, and Kev, we won the quiz. Double A carried us. He was our Bruno, I was the Casemiro, and Kev was the Scott McTominay, because he didn't really say much, did he? Sorry, Kev.
He did.
Sorry, Kev.
He did.
But Double A, listen. We have to laugh. If you don't laugh, we cry. Talk to me about the starting lineup. He's gone with pretty much the same lineup just for Rasmus Højlund, who's obviously going to start in the Champions League because of his goals he scored. Yeah. But yet again, playing Luke Shaw next to Harry Maguire and playing Scott McTominay next to Amrabat, knowing that those two players can, you know, have problems against teams that turn up. Yeah. How do you feel about that lineup?
Can I start off by just squashing these rumours that I do rate Luke Shaw, by the way. I don't know if this narrative that I want him gone. The question was, would I have 4 new full-back if I was allowed? Yes. Luke Shaw is still a fantastic left-back. Obviously the best in the club.
The main question was if you thought he's the best in the league.
I just wanted to get that. He's definitely not the best in the league.
There you go, yeah.
But I agree with Jordan was saying on the live earlier, you need to play your players in the best position. This is what the manager needs to start doing. It's okay saying you want a left-footed centre-back, but Luke Shaw proved, on Saturday, he didn't play very well. He's played a couple of games there, been fantastic. I want to see him at left-back because we lose something, both going forward and coming back, when he's not playing there. Reguilon, for me, is nowhere near good enough. He shouldn't be playing against a team like Bayern Munich. He shouldn't be playing against Bayern Munich.
Coleman,
big Bayern Munich, you know.
Leroy.
He must be pinching himself thinking, wow, I was third choice Spurs left-back in the summer. I'm playing against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. How have I got here? Do you know what I mean? And the midfield's the midfield, and everyone's going to start saying, well, he should be playing Manu, and then Manu comes in, doesn't play well against Bayern Munich, and then you're throwing a kid in at the deep end for no reason, sort of thing. So I understand why. I understand it. I don't want him to do it, but McTominay's still playing because he still feels that McTominay can get him something in games, and Højlund coming in is the right thing to do. I think Martial didn't do enough on Saturday for me to warrant a starting place. Obviously, Rashford's been ill, so I understand why he's probably on the bench. And I think he's losing faith in him. I said on the forum on Saturday, the fact he didn't come on well into the 75th, 76th minute on Saturday when we're chasing goals proves that the manager may be losing faith in Marcus Rashford being a starter at this moment in time. But I think I would have started Wan-Bissaka. I think we need that defensive cover there below. As much as you're a fan of him, I don't think he's just strong enough there for me. I would have liked to see Wan-Bissaka.
Horses for courses.
It is what it is, mate. But
to be honest, just for that pullback alone, the low should be dropped.
Yeah, well, I don't.
No.
Maybe.
That's his analysis.
But I think, do we have enough to win the game? I've not seen Bayern's team, but do we have enough to win the game off that? I'm very sceptical, and you know, call me deluded all you want, but Manchester United hosting Bayern Munich should be a game of the giants where two absolute colossuses go against each other, and we don't know who's going to win. Where every United fan at the moment is, you just said it before we went live, how many are going to hold? Can we keep them to 3? How are Manchester United in a position to be saying that against anyone? Never mind Bayern Munich. Do you know what I mean? And the fact we're here is worrying. And listen, I'm not Eric Ten Hag out. I've said that. But I understand where you're coming from. But you're
Eric Ten Hag concerned.
Everyone is.
I'm Manchester United. No, I'm Manchester United concerned.
Right.
And Ten Hag comes under that umbrella, as do the players.
Right.
He needs to help himself. And we've said it, he's not helping himself.
Right, I'm going to say a couple things, right?
Just a couple.
I have an agenda.
You?
Yes.
Chance.
Never.
I do.
Yeah?
Yes, surprise, surprise. Merry Christmas, everyone. I have an agenda. And my agenda is Manchester United. My agenda is trophies. My agenda is success. My agenda is for our players to show venom on the pitch, passion, desire, goals. That's my agenda. That's all it is. We said similar things that we say now when Ole was here, picking his favourites. But now Eric Ten Hag has decided not to play Marcus Rashford, showing that he doesn't pick his favourites. But then it's also finding a balance where you have to play certain players in their favourite position.
Yeah.
A player might not be his favourite. It might be his philosophy is his favourite. But sometimes you have to throw the philosophy out the book, just like you have to throw the player off a starting 11 and hold him on bench.
Yeah.
Right? I keep saying this, and I'm no football coach, but I watch football enough to say 3-5-2. Lock up the shop. Go defensive. Ricky says this all the time. Set off your defense when you're leaking goals. Stop the water from coming in before you start splashing the water out, because you're not going to go anywhere. You're still going to sink.
Yeah.
Just lock up the shop. The reason why Varane's nickname is Champions League Varane, because the amount of Champions Leagues he fucking won. He's the reason why his name is Champions League Varane. Do you know how much of a disrespect it is to a Varane to play a left back in centre back position over him and to play Sergio Reguilon instead? There is absolutely, it makes absolutely no sense. I would have preferred if he played Luke Shaw, Varane, and Maguire. That way you get your Maguire on your right side, you get your Luke Shaw on your left side, you get your Varane in the middle, and you get your fullbacks. Dalot on the left, he's locked up Saka before, so he can do it. Dalot on the left, and you get Bissaka on the right. You got your proper fullbacks who can do a really good job up and down.
I think the Luke Shaw decision, was what I was saying earlier, it's a good decision until it goes wrong. And it's gone wrong. So now he needs to revert to type and put his best player in his best position. Do you want to grab that super chat before it goes?
And I know there's about over 6,000 people in the chat. You see the lineup on the graphics. Please, will you give me 2 words that come to your mind? The first 2 words that come to your mind when you see that lineup. I want everybody to get involved. And now I'm going to ask you guys your 2 words as well. So have a think of that. Let me read the super chat. Robert McCormack says, I'm amazed you all sobered up after last night. Rob, Lord of mercy, mate. I was scared. What about you? Were you sober?
Slightly waved.
Yeah,
Slightly waved, yeah.
What about you? You okay?
Good boy, I was driving.
Oh, yeah, good lad, good lad. The Ripper says, if Bayern score early, it's game over. I mean, it's game over if Bayern even don't score early, because they're a threat at any given moment. Zayn Miasi, Arsenal supporter, is in the chat, says, shame we won't see you in the Champions League final. Wait, what? He said, shame we won't see you in the Champions League final. Come on, you Gunners. I'm not even going to entertain Zayn anymore, because it's just going to make me depressed. But 2 words, I mean, it's very interesting. Loads of chats.
Yes.
McTominay, no. Ole in. 1 change. Botched job. Europa League. Lots and lots of chat. Just wrong. 2 words.
Very worried.
Very worried. 2 words.
Super worried.
Super worried. Right, let me...
Give me your 2.
Eric Ten Hag out.
Okay,
That's far more than 2.
Yeah, that was a lot more than 2, but...
Well, ETH out. However you want to put it. Manager out.
There you go.
Manager done. I'm done. It's over. Kalas. I don't know however you want to put it.
What can
that
he do?
Lineup,
Can he win you round now at this point?
I asked you this last night, didn't I?
You did.
We had a really good conversation, and I asked the question to Vaz. I said, now you've been this bold with your assessment of the manager, and you wanted him out publicly, and we can admit, a lot of people don't agree with you.
Sure.
Yeah. A minority do.
And you heard my analysis. It was in depth.
Do. It's always in depth. But look, at what point or what can happen to turn you around? I said, if he goes on a 10-game unbeaten run, is that enough for you to change your mind?
If he goes on a 10-game unbeaten run, that's mad. That's amazing for any manager to do.
Yep.
And by 10 games unbeaten, the league is finished, and we'll probably be much higher up in the league. That's an amazing run to go on, considering how the team is, how the squad is. If he can do that, he deserves time. 10 games is no freaking joke.
Okay.
That's 30 points. I mean, if you're not counting
unbeaten.
FA Cup.
No, unbeaten. No, I'm saying.
Oh,
unbeaten,
okay, you didn't say win, so draws or whatever.
Yeah, unbeaten.
That establishes confidence. That establishes discipline. Form. And guess what? When we had this form at home, Bruno Casemiro and Eriksen was the midfield trio, they used to say, at home. And Double A knows this because I used to say, we'll smash anyone at home. He knows this full well. I would banter Man City fans. Yeah. I went viral for saying Liverpool are diabolical. Last season, I put my neck on the line for this manager. So because I have that much level of expectation, the disappointment is that much more as well. Because I wanted Eric. I didn't want Maurizio. I wanted him. And he's disappointing me again and again. This lineup giving me, I'll be deadly honest, Ole vibes. Where it's like, you blatantly see that you need to play players in their preferred position. Let me bring a little bit of stat for you. Bayern Munich have won 5, drawn 5 of 12 Champions League games against Manchester United, and they've only lost twice. It's a record, that it doesn't fill us with confidence, but there is a lot of draw in there. Now, we all know if Manchester United don't win, they draw. And if Copenhagen win, we go to Europa. If Manchester United draw, Galatasaray win. Please, anybody in the chat, correct me, because it's actually very confusing.
There's still a lot of outcomes.
Yeah, the head-to-head goes out. If Galatasaray win and we draw, I think we go out because Galatasaray will win and they'll be on more points. If everybody draws, I think we're in Europa. If I'm not, we'll be out actually. We'll be out.
We're done. Romeo done.
Yeah, because they're obviously 1 point ahead of us anyway. So. Yeah. It's just a must-win game.
Let me ask. Like I said, I'll ask both of you the question. What did he see in that performance that makes him think he only needs to make one change?
Wait 1 second.
We had a lot.
Wait. The chat, Sam, can you hear me? A lot of people in the chat are saying Varane is starting.
Varane started. Yeah, there's a lot.
But our graphics.
Has there been a change?
Wow.
Can someone confirm?
Can we get hold of Agent Sam?
Well, let's start the show again.
Sorry, everyone. Let us just confirm this. For who?
Agent Sam?
No Regulon, no Martial.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Sergio Regulion. It is Rafael Varane, Champions League, Rolls Royce. This is the power of United stars. Eric Ten Hag's probably watching it.
He watches this channel.
The boys know.
The boys know.
Listen, I'll save it until we move over to Mark's stream, and I'll tell you what to rate the chat with. But how are you feeling now? I'll come to Double A first.
He's listened. That's exactly what we said. Play your best players in the best positions. Varane is the man that we need in the backline for a game like this, and this magnitude, this importance, is the biggest leader in that team that's fit at the moment. Not without Casemiro, the most experienced. He knows how to handle moments like this. And let's be honest, in a game like this, Maguire needs a cool head next to him, 100%.
A talker. Yeah.
So the fact he's got Luke Shaw being on the outside of him is also going to help Maguire loads as well. So it's double the help for Maguire. I'm not saying Maguire, like I'm saying he's playing poorly. He's not. But the more help you can give him, it's obviously the better. Yeah.
Do you know what? It's almost like, well, it is two important changes to that back line. You've got a much better left back and a better centre back in there.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm glad he's listened, because I was really starting to get frustrated internally. I'm a lot more optimistic. I think the midfield, I totally get what you were saying about Manu. It's easy to make that call, put him in, throw him in, but he's gone with experience. Yeah. I get it. And then, Højlund was the right decision up front because Martial didn't offer anything on the weekend. So, I agree with that team. I really do.
So. Personally, obviously, I don't get the McTominay thing. I'm a big critic of his, and I would like to see Manu play, but we've seen what happened with Hannibal. I think Hannibal's played a minute since he got hauled off against Galatasaray at Old Trafford. At half-time. So we've seen when young players have drowned, this manager sometimes doesn't haul them out the water. He lets them sink even further. Because Hannibal is a ghost right now, and I think he was actually playing quite well until that Galatasaray game. And I think it was the game after was the Brentford game where you'd expect Hannibal to come on before McTominay, but McTominay was the one that come on, scored the 2 goals, which has then kept him in the team ever since. So personally, I think Manu is a better player than McTominay. I think he's shown in such a small sample size that's the case, especially in what we need in the midfield. But I think the experience of McTominay is obviously what's winning through in his current form.
And you can see from, McTominay being side by side with him in the presser the other day, he's turned it into a Ten Hag player, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like, not necessarily on the pitch, but off the pitch. He clearly trusts him.
Yeah, application.
Yeah, and likes what he's offering him on and off the pitch, which is interesting because we've said before, a number of managers seem to like him. But, us as fans.
Teacher's pet, innit?
Yeah, I know. It's easy to be a lick arse, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Let me just read through some super chats quickly. Thank you all for getting involved. Daniel Alas says Eric Ten Hag, in hope this lineup works for him. I think he sent that before the Varane news, but I'm sure he'll be a bit more happier now. Daniel says Wan-Bissaka robbed of a star. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. James says if we beat Bayern when it matters. So obviously we've got history of beating Bayern in a final, but Bayern have also got history in beating us and drawing against us. Hamlet, thank you for being a member for 9 months. Son Heung-min is in the chat. Son says if we win tonight, Eric Ten Hag will apologise to Varane. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a way of building the relationship back by starting him in the Champions League against Bayern Munich?
No, do you know what? I just think anyone, it doesn't take, Stevie Wonder could have analysed the game on Saturday and looked and gone, that back four is not correct. Which is why, when the team come out and there was no changes in the back line, I'm thinking, what is he watching? He should have made those changes in the game, let alone wait to the next game to make those changes. So the fact potentially he wasn't going to make them was just ludicrous. It needs to happen, and I just hope now Varane goes in there. He's the Rolls Royce that we know he is. Him and Maguire have an understanding, and we look much more solid at the back, much more watertight, because we have been shipping goals. Onana has a good game behind him, and we can just pick up a little bit of momentum going into that Liverpool game, which we are all concerned about at the moment.
Okay.
You have to look at, you have to look at the Varane thing dead quickly, because it can't be as bad as what people are making out, because he's in the squad. He's been in every squad.
Every squad.
He's not a Sancho situation where he's training
Banished.
away from everyone, banished pretty much.
Yeah.
His key cards revoked kind of thing, not getting into the training ground almost.
Yeah.
He's in the squad. So for me, it's as everyone keeps saying, Varane is an ultimate professional. So he knows when the manager is eventually going to come knocking for him, because he's going to have to be in the team at some point because he's our best centre back. He's just going to take it on the chin. I'm a grown man. I'm a professional footballer.
Yeah.
I want to come in the team. I want to do my job, and I fully expect him to do that tonight and be one of our best players.
I'm going to throw it back to that Beckham documentary when he got dropped under Capello, and the players were saying, "Listen, you need him out there. You need him out there," and he came in and produced some of his best form in that shirt.
Yeah.
Varane is more than capable of going out there today and sticking 2 fingers up to the manager and going, "You've got this wrong. Now you have to keep me in," and that's what we all want to see. So fingers crossed, that's what we get today.
I've got some more interesting stats for you.
Oh, come on in, Staz.
Yeah. Tommy Tuchel has never lost a game in Old Trafford.
Okay.
First time for everything. You talk about the Bournemouth one the other day.
Yeah, he's never lost a game in Old Trafford.
Can you stop putting these out in the universe?
It was 1-1 when we faced Chelsea at home, and it was 3-1 to PSG when PSG came over here in the group stage in the 2021 season.
Yep.
And it was 2-0 to PSG in the 18-19 season. He's won 3 games against Manchester United, drawn 3 games, and lost 2 games. So he's got a good record to say against Manchester United. A couple of more super chats that I'll read through. Lee says, "Hi guys, if that's the starting lineup, I'm not wasting my time to watch. I'm sick of the torture already. My health is more important." I definitely relate, especially after the Bournemouth game. I actually, listen, banter aside, I nearly cried. Like seriously, banter aside. I was nearly.
Tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was tough. I left the stadium. I've never left the stadium in my entire life. I never do. I've never left. I've seen 5-0 set. I've never left the stadium. So that one was tough. Darren says, I think Ahmad was back with you. Start his players. He has brought to club more often. Son also says, Son Heung-min also says, yes, I'm coming to Manchester United in a few weeks. Get man out so I can get the number 7 shirt. I would love Son Heung-min.
There's a lot of comments saying the bench is really poor. Who is on the bench?
The bench is an interesting one. Could we get the bench, please? We have the lineup for the Bayern starting 11. It's Neuer, Upamecano, Min-jae, Kimmich, Goretzka, Kane, Sane, Coleman, Davis, Mazraoui, and Musiala. Jamal, Starboy. The absolute legendary player he's going to become. And
it just reads like something off a Football Manager, doesn't it? Yeah. It is like Football Manager unlocked.
Yeah,
madness.
That's a tough lineup to go up against.
Madness,
especially in the form that we're in, up and down, and you don't know what Man United's going to turn up.
Yeah,
but our players have to look at that and go, This is it, boys. This is make or
Yeah.
break.
Now or never.
This is
Yeah.
This is our bench, ladies and gentlemen. Bayern there, Heaton.
2 keepers again.
Yo, you got no manners, have you? You got no. Are you serious? They even laugh.
You have to let it marinate. You have to let it sink
This
in.
guy.
No, but you have
This
to.
guy.
You have to. Johnny Evans. Sergio Reguilon. Dan Gore. Joe Hugel. Pelestri. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And Mino.
No Rashford, no Martial.
No Rashford.
No, Marshall.
Because he's ill. No Martial.
He's not made it.
Because he's ill. That's our bench. Our bench consists of 3 former academy players who's recently started in the first team, apart from Kobe Mino, who's actually played some minutes. But Dan Gore, Joe Hugo, Johnny Evans, Bayern Heaton, Wan-Bissaka, Pelestri.
It's the kind of.
four,
Do you know what, guys?
Four
It's the kind of bench that you would expect to see if we've already qualified.
Yeah.
and you want to give these players some Champions League experience, and you want to give them a run out to show them what it means. It's not the bench that you expect when it's do or die against one of the biggest teams in Europe. It's,
I don't even think he's going to make any substitutions in this game, because looking at the bench, who are you going to bring on other than Wan-Bissaka?
Menu,
or
control.
Menu and Reguilon, that's it. That's all the options.
There's not a player on
Does
there to
that
win it,
fill
is
you
it?
with confidence?
there's not a match winner on that bench, is it?
There's who can turn that game around other than Kobe Mino bringing something to the team, but I am absolutely not going to sit here and tell you that he can bring something that's going to turn the game around for Manchester United. I'm not going to put that pressure on him.
It'd be unfair to expect that from him as well. That bench is that's really worried me, because if we're struggling for a goal, I would maybe Pelestri. For me, still our most direct winger, looks to create more than anyone else. That's what you look to, but. Hugo, a lot of pressure for a young kid to come on and try and score a goal for you. Midfield, like I say, it's Menu or nothing. That's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying to see.
I really hope Rashford and Martial are okay. There is a bug going around and people are getting ill, but it's a shame. It's absolutely a shame, because Rashford was ill actually a game before. Then he came back and he played, and he's ill again. Let's not forget the series of events. I'm not spreading malicious rumours. I'm just trying to, because I can't say anything about Rashford without people getting caught out. But yeah, he's unwell, and Martial being unwell as well. Having them 2 on the bench would have given me a little bit more that, one thing we can do is use our pace. Rasmus has got pace. Rashford has got pace. Anthony's got a bit of pace. Just use the pace on a counter attack and try and see if we can make a goal or 2.
We're still not effective, really. Our decision making is still dreadful. So I know I look at that bench and I've just said, like, it looks to me like a testimonial or a qualified team bench. But really, current form, are we missing a lot from Rashford? Are we missing a lot from what Martial offered the other day?
I was gonna disagree with that, Faz. I was gonna say I think the application and energy and high performance we'd get from that bench is a lot more than what I'd expect from Rashford and Martial. I think they're letting the side down massively in their performances. Neither of them have been good enough for a long, long time now. And I think players like Hugo, Menu, Gore would give us a lot more. And I think a higher output in what they put in on the pitch if they get a chance tonight than them 2 would.
Yeah.
To mention Bayern's bench, right? They've got players like Muller, Pavlovic, Choupo-Moting, Perez, Guerrero, Lamia, and Tel, and Krasic. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Krasic. So that's their bench. I mean, Muller alone, the name is scary. Choupo-Moting, let's be honest, he's a decent player. He's not had a great Premier League time, but he's gone to Bayern and has had a good time.
Yeah, he has.
They've got players in there that can score goals, that can create goals, whereas we're going to have to rely on Kobe Mino to bring something.
Did it in the first game. Tel came off the bench and scored a goal, didn't he? In that first game. So, listen, they've got players that can come off the bench. They may not be the world's stars that they expect from a Bayern Munich that they've had in the past, but we've seen, they're very capable players of causing most teams damage. And I bet that Bayern team are actually relishing playing at Old Trafford.
I'd like to borrow their bench for our starting 11.
No, that's actually a very good point. That's a very good point. Bradley with the super chat, thank you very much, says, barely any changes, he's brave after Saturday. Well, I'm really sorry, but he's been brave all season. It's not just today.
I think with who's fit though.
I think if you look at the bench,
Yeah.
what's he going to do?
What's he actually going to do?
I
think we've got to be fair. I think with who's fit, he's made the changes that he should have made.
I can point you one player that should be in that bench, and that's criminal.
Wan-Bissaka.
No, in the bench.
Oh, it should be on the bench.
Yeah, and Manchester United absolutely effed up, and it boils my blood. Absolutely boils my blood.
Onana.
No, Donny van der Beek should be in the bench.
Oh, should be on the bench. He's
But
not,
he
he's
didn't
not
get-
eligible.
Well, yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't get registered.
Yeah,
That
he
is
didn't get registered.
absolutely criminal. You didn't
Yeah.
fill out the paperwork to register him. I don't get why. You're selling Scott McTominay. Hold on. You're selling Scott McTominay. You're selling Maguire. But you registered them for the Champions League and they're here.
Is it because they thought he was going to Sociedad?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You still register them.
I
You know?
understand.
It's like it's like a fax machine error type of thing. Not
When
registering
does that
a player.
happen? When does that happen?
Yeah, it's abysmal. Call with the super chat says only change in that lineup should be McTominay. I get not wanting to throw a young player in, but Fernandes and McTominay leave the entire midfield open.
Yeah.
The Bayern team is going to cut through us. I think that's called 10th super chat. So thank you very much for your super chat. Let's actually talk about that super chat a little bit. That Bruno and Scott McTominay leaving the midfield vacant, leaving the defensive midfielder alone. Similar thing you've seen last season.
Yeah.
You saw Eriksen drop in to help Casemiro, but let's be honest, Eriksen can't keep up with the intensity at times, and he gets caught out in position.
Yeah.
He can't run back if the ball is in an attacking phase for the opposition. We brought in Amrabat to fix that solution. Casemiro's out injured. We've not seen the Casemiro-Amrabat partnership
That's
for
the
long.
pivot that people need.
Mount has been injured. We've not seen him there.
Yeah.
Kobe Mino doesn't get played, and he uses Scott McTominay, and the tactic is using him as a false striker, second striker in the box, fox in the box, to get a goal or two. And Bruno Fernandes is just a free roam. What do you think, this stubbornness of his, do you think it's really costing him as much as it's getting him, top scorer for Scott McTominay, manager of the month, Premier League player of the month for Maguire? Is it costing him as bad as getting him solutions?
Yeah, it is crazy all the money that we've spent on forwards, and McTominay's our number 10, our false nine. Like it is mad that we're in this position, and I know that he has popped up with some goals. Is it 5 that he's got now?
Six
That he's got. Okay, but what else is he contributing? And this is where I throw it back to other people where they throw shade at Bruno and say Bruno doesn't offer a lot. I totally get that. But we're in the exact same situation with Tony. Those 6 goals are disguising the fact that he isn't actually influencing the game in the way that you would want a midfield to influence the game. The double pivot that we need, and the reason we brought Amrabat in, was that Casemiro needs help. There's games where you can play one, but there's a lot of games now where the midfielders that you're playing against are streetwise, and you need 2. And Casemiro's in the right to sit in front of that back 4 and have someone else do the legwork. And for me, that should be Amrabat. And I think we're going to see the best out of Amrabat where those 2 can have a run of games together. It does worry me looking at Bruno and McTominay, who is going to drop back, who is going to cover. Bruno is erratic and almost plays like a free role, just seems to be everywhere. And again, that's fine if you are scoring goals, if you are assisting, then you can sort of turn a blind eye to it. But in games like today, against a team like Bayern Munich, with that midfield, very worried.
A double A?
Yeah, I echo everything that Jordan's saying. I think what I was worried about in the Chelsea game was how open that midfield was, and Chelsea 2-3 passes and they were in on goal. Or
Wolves game, Chelsea game, Palace game, Brighton game, Arsenal game.
But using a recent game, where it's supposed to be getting better or turning, the manager's happy with the midfield. I imagine Musiala must be licking his lips tonight. He's just going to carry that ball all day long, cut through us. I'm worried. I feel sorry for Amrabat, and what's happening to him, or what we saw on Saturday, is exactly what's happened to Casemiro, and what has led to people saying Casemiro is done because he's being left isolated and having to do the job of 2 men. Yeah. When he's done it with Mount and Bruno, and he's doing it now with McTominay and Bruno. You need to have your number 6 to have help, and an 8 or someone who can sit in there and provide help. That Eriksen was doing to a certain degree last season. It's vital for this team, and he's not getting that. And listen, whether Bruno can do it, Bruno has played 8 last season a little bit and looked quite comfortable doing that, and people said they'd like to see a bit more of that. Give him, as the captain, give him that responsibility then, because we know, and Jordan's saying it perfectly, Scott McTominay doesn't have the capabilities to be a midfielder for me. No. He's either a second striker or just pumped up as a false 9, but as a midfielder who can have the technical abilities, and you know, other than run around a lot, like I said, you might as well go and sign Mo Farah. He doesn't do much else. So we need someone in there. That's why the shouts for Kobe Mainoo are so loud, because he will do that and do that dog work and make sure Amrabat has sufficient cover and support through the whole game.
Yeah. Let's do our players to watch. Actually, let's start off with yours. Who are your two? The first one that you picked.
Luke Shaw.
Interesting.
Luke Shaw, because I was concerned that he was going to be played at centre back again, and I feel like I said earlier, it's good and it's a good move until it's bad, and then you go, why have you done that when you've got fit centre backs that could be played there? I think he can influence a game. I look at that decision making from Delot when he didn't cut it back to Højlund, and I just think Luke Shaw wouldn't have done that. He can be that creative player from the left side.
But he also cost us a goal, Luke Shaw, by giving away a ball in the Newcastle game that led to a goal.
Yeah, and he will, but he you know, everyone's capable of that. That's one isolated moment. In general, he is our best left back, so he shouldn't be playing centre back.
But they use one isolated moment for Diogo Dalot, who didn't cut back to Rasmus. And
I'm not saying, like, for me, I would pick Dalot. I think Dalot is a better footballer than Wan-Bissaka. I think overall he is our best right back. Thank you. Like, I like Dalot. He would always be my first choice over Wan-Bissaka. I think there are Wan-Bissaka games and there are Dalot games, but there's more Dalot games than there's Wan-Bissaka games. That's my opinion on it. But for me, every game's a left-back Luke Shaw game.
Yeah, no. So, I agree with that.
And I didn't want to see him start at centre-back today, so I'm very happy about that decision. It also unlocked that position for someone else to come in. And for me, that was Champions League for Varane.
Rafa Varane.
So,
we'll do yours. I don't know if we have the graphics for the ones that you pick, but we'll just pick. Do we have the graphics for?
No.
No, but it's okay. We'll pick. Go on. Who's your?
Now we've heard the team for I mean, we've got to watch out for him now. I think, like we've just said, mentioned
just touch on that. I mean, he's not played in a good few games, and I'll just mention this. Rafael's injury record.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, was it last season or this season? Someone in the chat, please fact check this, because I just read over this. He's missed 34 games, something along those lines, overall in his Manchester United career.
Yeah.
And since he's been here, John Stones has missed 31 games.
Oh, really?
It's an interesting stat. Someone had told me.
Do you know what?
I'm trying to find that. Double A, just touch on the.
You know, we've said it. We know what he is. He's the leader. He's the linchpin for that defence for me. You know, he's our best centre back. And I'm excited to see him back in the starting lineup. It's where he should be. It's a joke that he's not been there, regardless of the falling out. It can't have been that serious, like I've already mentioned. It's one of them. You talk about his injury record, and he's a player not on Martial's level, but you do expect a breakdown every now and again, or you are worried that something's going to happen. He's going to come off injured. But like I said, he's been in squad after squad after squad, so he's been fit for a while now. So you're expecting him to come straight in and show that he is still a world-class centre-back.
I think, just on that Varane point, because I do agree with you, watch today how many times Onana, from the back, goes straight to Varane.
Yeah.
That is the player he will go to.
Yeah.
Before the others, that's the guy he tries to find. And I think it's so important that build-up, and it will fill Onana with confidence that he's got a Varane in front of him. Definitely, that he can give the ball to, and he knows that we'll be able to, pick a pass and progress the ball from the back.
I'll just clarify this stat for you all, and it's very interesting. Rafa Varane has missed 38 games through injury since joining Manchester United. John Stones has missed 31 games in the same period.
Through injury?
Through injury. See, it's not
interesting.
Or not available, whatever it is. And Rafa Varane has only missed 4 games this season.
But do you know what, though? I feel like with the whole Varane and injury thing is, we knew when we were signing him that, he wasn't going to be available to us in every game. And it's down to the manager, again, we call it man management, to manage his appearances of what games that, we do put him out for. He's not going to play 3 games in a week, and this is why you need to have 4 centre-back options. But the fact is, he has been fit, and we haven't used him. But I'm glad he's swallowed his pride or whatever's gone on, and he's looked at it and gone, I've got someone with that level of experience on the bench, I've got to put him in. If he goes in today and he has a mare, then the manager is like, well, listen, this is the reason I've made the decision.
Justified that
but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to go in and fill that back four with confidence, and we will play better. I'm not going to say changing Varane and moving Luke Shaw to left back is the reason we're going to win the game, but it's definitely going to give us a better chance over the performance we had the other day.
Yeah.
Who would be your second player?
So, Højlund, I think you know, this is his competition, and everyone's talking about the Premier League and stuff, but and his lack of goals there. But we've seen something in the Champions League with him. He seems hungry in this competition, and he's getting them goals. And I think if he can go out on a bang tonight, if we don't go through, he's taking that impetus and he's taking it back into the Premier League, because once he starts going in the Premier League, I think that'll just open the floodgates and we'll start to see him banging. I think eventually it's going to click for him. I have faith in him. I have trust in the player that he will become and the player that he's shown he is at the moment for us. I just think, yeah, we know this team don't create for strikers. We know it's a graveyard shift. We've had several number 9s come to this club and you know, feeding off scraps every single time. And this player is hungry. He's energetic. He's fearless. And I trust that he'll hopefully have a good game. He had a good game at the Allianz, and I'm hoping in front of our crowd and the fans in high spirits and backing the team, he can have another good game.
It's a good point about the away game.
Yeah.
We scored goals against them. Yeah. I know, you know, we lost the game, but we did score goals against them. They can be got at.
Yeah, that first 20 minutes, we were a better team as well, and we've become 20-minute FC, but... You know, hopefully one day it'll hopefully click and we can do it for 90 minutes. No better place to start than tonight.
I'll take 45 at the moment.
I'll just read out some super chats quickly. Glenn says, look at that bench and all you're testing onto, it backs up Erik Ten Hag for me. I think you mean in terms of, I think he's trying to hint at that there's the bench doesn't have everyone available because of injuries. So that backs
we said that earlier.
Ten Hag for him. Mac the Red says, McTominay will be our downfall tonight, be ready. I don't want to wish that on McTominay anyways, it's just before a game. But what I will say though is Erik Ten Hag, you know, the injuries that we have as of today haven't been from the start of the season. There's been games Mason Mount has played. There's been games Casemiro has played. There's been games different players, Varane has played, right? There's been games Kobe Manu has played. It's a chop and change, mix and balance, and over the course of the season, it's not worked. And I've got an interesting question for you all, because you don't start the season with all of these players injured, and today all of the players are injured. Some injured, they come in, they go out. Yeah. Lisandro injured, come in and went out. You know, it's a balance. Ronald says, Kane hat-trick. I hope not. Mr. Bugs says, this should be Onana's last chance. He should be subbed if he does a bad first half. And sub for league games. I don't care about his confidence anymore. Phil says, Scott had better stay back and defend tonight. It will get absolutely destroyed. Hopefully we win, but I'd guess 5-0. And also, Mon, thank you for becoming a member on the United Stand. Really, really appreciate you. The injury situation that I was just speaking on. Obviously, there's injuries now, and every team has injuries, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but I'm also not going to use that against the manager, because it is, tough to have some of your key players injured. Especially, I think, Lisandro Martinez is the worst one because he had to have second surgery. Malacia is a big one. People don't understand how big of a issue having Malacia out is. He might not have been a critical part of the team last season, but don't forget, he locked up Salah. There was a point last season where he locked up Salah when we played Liverpool.
I think he was a critical part of the squad last season.
Okay, well,
because
break it down.
He made Luke Shaw perform better.
Raise his game. Yeah.
I like that.
And show his class. I think he was that player that really kicked Luke Shaw at the backside, and this is the hope that we have for Garnacho for Rashford and for Anthony for Rashford. Yeah. That eventually he's looking and thinking, if I don't book my ideas up and I don't start performing to the level that not only do the fans expect, but I expect to myself and the manager expects, then these players are just going to keep me out of the team.
Yeah.
So I think he was vital part of the team.
I'll touch on my first player that I want to speak on my players to watch. It is Andre Onana. I specifically picked Andre Onana as a player to watch, and I'll tell you why. It's because the reason why a football club or a football manager will sell a player is because either their time at the club is done because of age, retirement, or they're looking to go in a different direction in that position. They're looking to upgrade. They're looking to bring in someone who can add something. Onana was brought in specifically to upgrade, to bring something. Yeah. And he single-handedly, and I promise you, it makes me sick to say it, that he single-handedly cost us Champions League football. No, we are not going to go and win it. Mark said the exact same words. These are Mark's words from his show. So I picked it out. So before anybody comes at me,
No, I'm actually
tactically doing this.
I agree with you, because it's coming from you. You're the one that's going to get pelters.
I know, but that's how the world works. Mark will say it, he won't. Ricky will say it, he won't. I will say it, I will, because I'm so vocal about how I analyze my game. That's fine. But Onana has made mistakes and it's cost us. I can sit here and put my pride aside and say I regret saying David De Gea should have left, because I did say it. And Double A will know this. Last season I said David De Gea can go because we're looking for the betterment of the team. The betterment of the team is getting the manager, the goalkeeper he wants. These are on video record that I said it, and I regret it now because I was backing the manager so much that I said let a legend of the club go. I definitely regret it. So today he has to have a big performance. Leroy Sané is going to test him. He loves to cut in and shoot. Coleman's going to test him. Harry Kane is most definitely going to test him. Jamal Musiala, who loves to play just outside the box, right? Dribble past players and have a shot, is going to test him. Yeah. Free kicks, you know.
Davis on the wing.
Yeah, and Thomas Tuchel is no stupid manager. Let's be deadly honest. You know, he's a very well-established manager.
The instruction will be shoot on sight.
And shoot low and hard.
Yeah.
Shoot low and hard. Try and test him.
He's top heavy with small hands. With small arms, so he will struggle. But the thing is I was never to hear out at that point. I felt like Ten Hag had so many other fires to fight. He didn't need to pick that fire. In the scheme of things, that was a candle that was burning. He could have dealt with that at a later time, but he didn't. He chose to take that challenge on where that money should have been invested and done elsewhere. Because what it's done is it's disrupted the whole back five. There's a lot less confidence amongst the whole back five. And that is an issue.
I think if we didn't buy Onana and we didn't buy Mason Mount, that would have been 120 million.
Yep.
I can name you one player that should be in our team and not Bayern's team right now.
Okay.
120 million could have been saved. We would have been perfectly fine without Mason Mount, and we would have been perfectly fine without Andre Onana. Because the reason why I say this, ladies and gentlemen, is because we haven't seen Andre Onana give us what he can do. Yeah. He's not done it. He's not given the ball playing abilities. He started off with the confidence of an absolute 10 men on the pitch shouting at Maguire and being outside his box. And every game he's gone 10 yards back, and now he doesn't come. There's situations where he doesn't come off his line.
Do you know what? It's mad because you did just remind me of that. How is that the same guy that was barking orders pre-season at Harry Maguire? Like, you talk about a drop in confidence. Yeah. He's a shadow of himself, isn't he?
Yeah. That statue's gone. You saw the first game at Old Trafford, he was big.
He was a man mountain, wasn't he? Yeah. And it just
now.
shows how heavy that shirt is, how different it is under the lights of Old Trafford.
It doesn't matter how experienced you are, you replace a legend that David De Gea was. He's feeling the pressure for sure, and we've seen it in the performances in the Champions League.
Guys, just quickly, we've got 12,000 people watching, which is incredible, but could we have a couple more likes, guys? We haven't even got just about 1,000 likes. Can everyone hit the like button and show us some love on this build-up show?
Undefeated with the super chat says Scott must be giving Erik Ten Hag something other than goals. Well, Erik Ten Hag must see that Scott gives him something on the pitch where he's maybe defending better, he's giving him energy. Eric's way of explaining things is very interesting. He says energy, and he gets in the right areas. The team is good enough. One game, the team is good enough to be consistent, and then the other game, the team is not good enough to be consistent. Those are his words. Second player to watch. Who was your second player to watch, Jordan?
Amrabat.
Interesting.
Yeah. 2 reasons. Number one, to see who was going to play alongside him, because he's going to have a tough game against their midfield. And if he's left without a main or someone that can support him, he could really be under pressure in terms of his Man United career and the decision for us to sign him towards the end of the season. I think these kind of games, he could be exposed and he's instantly a scapegoat rather than fans looking at the reasons why he isn't performing.
If you're not tactically setting out the team properly, you're setting out the players to fail. And the players are going to look absolutely awful. Yeah. Your job as the manager is to make the players have a system where they shine the most. Could be the worst players in the world. Yeah. But if you tactically set out a team right, you get it right. And I say that because how come PSG don't perform well in the Champions League? And in certain games, PSG look absolutely like, what the hell is this? And they have a bunch of superstars. Another one, Pochettino and Chelsea, bunch of young players that walk into many top teams in the world, right? 100 million pound players, World Cup winning midfielder, young midfielder, young centre backs, forwards, Raheem Sterling, Cole Palmer. Tactically, he's not getting it right. There's something tactically he's not getting right. That's the factual truth. And that's what Eric has to do here. He has to tactically get it right today. And yes, Varane is starting. That's really good. But Varane hasn't played many games. So, he's not going to be... Is he going to be match fitness sharp level? Let's be deadly honest. It's not fair on him, is it? There was no need to bring on Johnny Evans against Bournemouth. Could have brought on Rafa Varane, give him some minutes, let him get some match rhythm. And now you're here, starting him. And it's almost like throwing him into the deep end, isn't it?
Yeah. It was his last game. It was Copenhagen away, was it?
I think so, yeah.
And, you're absolutely right. He's an experienced player, so I assume, his preparation is absolutely right. He trusts his body. It's not...
Luton, actually, he played 12 minutes against Luton.
Oh, I didn't. I was in
It's
Italy,
longer
so I
than
didn't
12
see
minutes,
that one.
wasn't he? Played against
No,
Luton?
12 minutes. He played 1 minute against Fulham.
Really? I didn't.
I thought it was longer than that against
No,
Luton.
Yeah.
12 minutes against Luton.
Right.
Luton at home.
But I expect him to be fully prepared for a game like this.
Yeah.
Like I say, that experience counts for so much more when you're a player of his stature. So, as bad as it is, and like you say, the manager needs to have this tactically spot on tonight in every single aspect. Every player doing a job and putting in 100%, because anything less, and it could be a very long night for Manchester United, unfortunately.
Just do super chat.
Yeah. Is there another one? Let me just bring it up. Brian says, key point being missed is that Wan-Bissaka inverts next to the 6 regularly. The manager's tactics are there, but some players don't execute. And what happens when you invert in? You're leaving your fullback area empty. And it's the exact thing that happened when Almiron scored against us in the Carabao Cup game, because you're asking your fullbacks to invert in. Just because he's asking a player to do it and the player can't do it should tell you that I need to change to make sure I can find a tactic that the players can do it. Why am I asking a player...
Yeah.
And I hate to use this analogy, and people might take it the wrong way, but it's like asking a cat to bark.
Yeah.
It's like asking a cat to protect a house.
But
You're not going to do it, are you?
That's what happened with David De Gea last season, isn't it? He came in, he was asking him to play out from the back. We got absolutely slapped up the first 2 games of the season, and then he sort of went, actually, this isn't going to work, and we need to play a different style of football. You're asking a player to come out of their comfort zone and do something that they clearly can't do. But if you keep asking them to do it, ultimately it's going to end up costing him his job.
Yeah. Seafood, that guy says, wow, is that Jordan, or do my eyes deceive me? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you back, mate.
Good to see you too, my friends. Hope you're well. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas indeed. Right, let's talk a bit about Bayern's team. Who in the Bayern's team kind of fears you the most, Double A?
Well, it has to be Harry Kane, doesn't it? I think, the sketches are proving to be a good choice for him. He's absolutely banging goals in left, right and centre.
For fun.
For fun.
Yes.
Proving once, for me, I think he is the best striker in the world. I think, the variation in his game propels him better than Haaland for me in what he can offer a team.
Yeah.
And you have to be fearful of him. He'll be sniffing blood tonight, I think. And listen, I know Harry Maguire inside out. I know his weaknesses. I know Luke Shaw inside out. I fancy my chances, and with players like Sane and Coleman, and I'll speak about him again, Musiala, absolute world class young player already. He'll be feeling like I can get a couple tonight if it goes our way. And there's so much experience in that team. There's a reason why every single year the class is a favourite, no matter who the manager is, no matter who they put out. The class is a favourite for the Champions League, and they'll have no fear coming here tonight. It'll be just
They are officially the favourites for the Champions League, are they?
I imagine City is still the favourite.
For me, outside of City, I would say Bayern.
The way they've played this group, it's not an easy group. People thought it was going to be easy, and people thought we were going to
walk it.
It's proved to be a really difficult group.
Yeah.
I mean, they've drawn against obviously Copenhagen in last match week. I think they just about won against Galatasaray in a tough game. So it's been tough, and they've proven, unbeaten, and they want to stay unbeaten for the whole group stage, that they're a force to be reckoned with this year.
I think when they've got match winners in that team, and when they need to win, they can win, and that's what scares me. I agree with you as well. I think the player to watch amongst many players that we could pick, I'm going to have to agree with you on Kane. Yeah. I think Kane coming back to England, playing against Manchester United, he's going to want to send a reminder out, listen, I'm still the man. I might not be in your league, anymore, but I'm still the man.
Yeah.
You know, it's all very well, you can go out to Germany and score as many goals as he's scoring, but for him on a personal level, to come back to these shores and be in the public domain again in English football against an English team, he's going to want to score goals.
Yeah, it's like he has a point to prove when he doesn't. He's
Yeah.
here to say, I'm still, like you said, I'm still the man.
Yeah.
It's still
and
my
the
league.
best goal scorers always hit. Ronaldo still feels like that now.
Yeah.
Out in Saudi, like he wants to remind everyone, I'm
the
still the
goal.
man.
Yeah.
Super chat from Show says, I love Varane, but I wish Eric gave him a few minutes in previous game to prepare him for tonight. Love the content, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll give you a little stat.
Go on, Staz.
23 games this season so far, if I'm not mistaken.
Where did you keep pulling these from, by the way? Who? What have you got there? What app have you got there?
Nothing, my mind now anyways is at 100 miles an hour. I'm trying to figure out why things are going the way they are. So I'm always like online trying to find pieces of information to figure out why am I thinking like this. I'm deadly serious.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather talk to people who disagree with me to understand their perspective.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in my analysis? So I'm constantly trying to find things. Right, 23 games this season so far in all competitions. Varane has been injured for 4. Not available for 9. And not available could be mean out of the squad for illness, which is not an injury or something like that, but injured, registered injured for 4 only.
Okay.
That's I'm sorry, but that's fuck all. That's zilch. That's nothing. Why? So I can sit here and tell you, yes, I feel like there has been some sort of a fallout between the manager, because 4 games is nothing in 23 games. In all competitions.
Yeah.
For a player who's supposed to be injury prone, and
Yeah.
as soon as you hear he's out, for he's injured.
He's injured. Oh, he's injured again.
You think that straight away.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
4 games is a lot less than what I thought it would have been, and the 9 out is obviously what's happened with behind the scenes, and it has to have been because, like I say, we keep saying you don't keep your best defender out of the team unless there's something seriously wrong. So the fact he's back in is fantastic news for us Manchester United fans, I think, tonight, and you know, in a starting lineup and a bench with little to be happy about and to sing about, I think that for me is the one thing that makes me think we've got at least a small sliver that we can try and maybe get something.
Yeah. I think if he'd kept it what we thought it was going to be, and we went and got spanked, it's really hard to sit in front of a camera and keep backing him.
Yeah.
If he didn't look at that game on the weekend and think something needs to change, when we could see it after 45 minutes.
Yeah.
To roll into another game against Bayern Munich and go, do you know what, that back four was all right, let's give it another go. It's on his own head then, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He's spot on.
The midfield, we've talked about. The front line, look, massive one that Garnacho...
Who was your second player?
Rasmus, actually. Yeah, good point.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even mention that. Same as Double A's, Rasmus. Because he's just setting the Champions League on fire. And the reason why I've not been critical of him at all, firstly, he's young, of course, because part of me, again, in my analysis, I have to pick apart everything, and I'm thinking, was it the right decision to get a young striker when you know you need goals and you need to secure Champions League football to get funds for the next window?
Yeah.
He's got a young striker, no problem. Martial has to go, so he has to get another striker. But the only hope I'm getting is the type of goals he's scoring in Champions League. You can get any type of goals, headers, tap-ins, but some of the actions that he's doing in the Champions League, I'm like, wow, right? He's got pace, he's got strength, he's looking actively. Yes, he's sometimes not in sync with the front line where he's getting in the right area at the right time. You need to understand, I said this before, as a striker, you need to understand if Anthony has the ball on his right foot, I need to go this side. If Dalot has the ball on the overlap or on the underlap, I need to be here. That comes with time. But he's showing willingness. That's the most important thing for a striker, is be willing to get into the box constantly and be willing to ask for the ball. That means you're ready. And the goals will come. They have come in the Champions League. I think it's a good, very good signing, and I'm hoping that he can get some goals today and continue this. And if we make it out, maybe he can actually carry us a bit more in the Champions League.
Sorry, Jordan.
Go on.
I was going to say, I think the criticism has been widely unfair of him.
Absolutely.
I think people are acting like he's a 27-year-old striker. He's 20 years old. So they're talking about him getting in position. He's still learning the game, and that's why it was so important that we got a Kane, or we got a more experienced striker. And, you know, if we didn't get Mount, we didn't get Onana, that 120 million gets us Kane and Rasmus, and we've got 2 phenomenal options from the bench for when Kane's not hitting it. Rasmus comes on, or vice versa, and we've got that option from the bench, and he learns from a Harry Kane, and he's not having to be the figurehead of an attack that is not functional a lot of the time.
I think, yeah, a couple of things on that. I think the Rasmus signing now looks like a luxury signing in the sense that if you'd already had an out-and-out goal scorer, you can afford to bring a player in like that and wait for him to find his level and start delivering. But the flip side of it is, I don't think Ten Hag could have predicted Rashford's drop-off would be so big.
That's an interesting, very interesting point.
And so I think when they're then looking at it going, you know, where the goal's going to come from, he's obviously looked at Rashford and gone, right, I'm going to get X from Rashford, and it would bring Højlund in, the pressure's not going to be on him. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is, are we creating a lot more in the Champions League than we are in the Premier League because he's not scored a goal in the Premier League? Or is it that his style of play, where he is that, you know, a bit more aggressive, using his strength, shutting defenders down, that these European defenders in general are not used to that style of play, so he's able to grind out chances, whereas in the Premier League, they're a bit more streetwise to that kind of player, and then he's not able to implement that style as much.
Force himself on the game.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Look, I think if you're scoring in the Champions League, to you it shouldn't differ anyways. A football game is a football game. You know, you go out to play Bournemouth, you go out to play Bayern Munich, you want to score goals either way.
Yeah.
You might have a bit more motivation because there's the you know, structure of the game, because it's a must-win game. But I do get where you say Premier League, the defenders are studying you constantly because you're playing so many games in the Premier League, and they can start reading your body language, reading your runs as well. But in hindsight, you're scoring in the Champions League, you can carry that confidence over to the next game in the Premier League, and that's what should be happening.
But I don't think his confidence is the problem, though. I think the confidence is there for him. I think it's the team. It's the team that's letting him down, I think. But it has done for years with a number 9. But
everyone keeps saying, oh, you know, he's not scoring because, you know,
Mark has changed our graphics. Mark, what have you done? He's changed our graphics to that's football, ain't he?
Right, that's his way of saying get off, isn't it?
No, he's just a prat. That's all it is. He's just done it. He's done it before, actually. He's done it before. Bless him. But yeah, go on. You're saying, completely. Yeah, I can see. Go on.
No, but everyone just keeps saying, you know, we don't create chances. That's why he's not scored in the Premier League. But he scored a lot of goals in the Champions League. So I'm trying to work out, you know, what is changing from Wednesday to Saturday.
Yeah,
it's not a confidence thing because, like you said, he's trying harder than probably anyone in the team. You know, he's running around like a lunatic, but he's just not getting those chances. But he seems to be grinding those chances out in the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, look, we've come to the end of the countdown to kick-off. Obviously, I appreciate everybody else as well in the chat joining in. Nearly 13,000 of you, which is massive. Huge. Obviously, it's a huge game. I want to thank Double A for joining us and Jordan for joining us as well. We will be live with the forum later on with myself, Kev. Who else is on the forum?
Ricky and myself.
And Jordan, so stacked panel. Mark is live now with the watch along, and this is what I want you all to raid the chat with. And it has to be, even though it almost feels like Erik Ten Hag has fed him to the wolves, but it is Rolls Royce Rafa. He is the guy. If anybody
who's going to spell that wrong? Give him something easier.
Champions League. Varane.
How can you not spell it? Rolls.
CL Rafa.
Royce. No, he is Rolls Royce because he's silky, he's smooth,
I know what he is.
He's goddamn good looking. So he's Rolls Royce Rafa. That's what you go and comment. Thank you all very much for watching. Must-win game. Come on, Manchester United, we can do it. And hopefully we get through to the Champions League. We must believe. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you on the next one.